Bengals Pulse, the heartbeat of our victorious Cincinnati Bengals.
Can't miss player. I really do. A lot of people think I'm crazy. I think when he gets on the field, he's going to produce. He's going to produce at a high level.
They are almost unbeatable in December and January.
We're on another level. Thank you.
And I am going to become the first Bengals broadcaster to call a Super Bowl title. It's happening.
Yes,
It's happening this year.
In a row, Mon. 10 in a row. Hooday, Bengal fans. He is Eric. I am Jake. This is the Bengals Pulse, the heartbeat of our Cincinnati Bengals. Our guy Mon could not be with us tonight, but he is definitely here in spirit. Eric, how you been doing, bud?
Man, things are heating up. You know, my former company, Artemis, is launching in a couple days. My company's launching in a couple weeks. Things are heating up. And then earlier today, I'm a feel-good story guy. So got to watch some golf. Gary Woodland, a very feel-good story. Hasn't won since 2019. Had brain surgery from brain cancer. Dealt with post-traumatic stress syndrome from that. And he just won today and just went away. So I'm a little emotional today because, you know, I'm an underdog story. I'm a feel-good story. And, man, watching that today, I don't know that anybody could go away with that without feeling for the guy. So I'm pumped. I'm ready to talk some draft. I'm ready to talk some Bengals.
Very cool, very cool. And the Reds today win their first series 3-2 over the Red Sox, 2-1 in the series, 2-1 on the year. So very excited about that as well. Tonight, let's get right to this because I am so stoked. First of all, guys, as always, if you like this podcast, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We love you. We appreciate you. We are going to be talking free agency tonight in the draft with one of the best out there. You guys might know him as the Bengals site expert for Stripe Hike, which is under the Fan-Sided Network. He has written for Bleacher Report, Barstool Sports. He is an inspiring actor. This guy is the jack of all trades. And we are so stoked that he has decided to come on to our show tonight. So without further ado, let's bring him on, our buddy Matt Fitzgerald. Matt, welcome to the Bengals Pulse.
Yo, what's up, fellas? What an intro, Jake. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Matt, for coming on, man. We are so appreciative. Obviously, we are right around the corner, gentlemen, from the 2026 draft. Free agency is kind of winding itself down. Matt, let's talk free agency first before we even get into the craziness of Christmas in April, the NFL draft. Free agency, Matt, the Bengals go out. They address some very important needs, safety, edge rusher, defensive tackle. They go back. They get Joe Flacco for another year. What are your thoughts on, first of all, what the Bengals have done so far in free agency? Matt, have they done enough? Have they filled all the holes they need to?
I mean, I feel like they clearly haven't filled all the holes they need to. I thought it was an inspired move to sign Jonathan Allen because obviously we've been begging, screaming, praying for an interior pass rush of some kind at some point. And, you know, I guess technically DJ Reader used to do that, but he's more of a run stopper, nose tackle type. But John Allen, like that's a cool pickup. I'm kind of bullish on that one. But yeah, beyond obviously Boye Mafe, it's a nice culture piece. Sort of you're gambling on the upside, similar to when they signed Trey Hendrickson several years back. And I wanted him real bad. So that made me happy. And then obviously Brian Cook, the hometown hero story, homecoming, coming back to Cincy, played college ball at Cincy, born in Cincinnati. That was cool. But yeah, at the same time, it's like, how do you look at that linebacker room and not just panic? Because it's one thing. It's like, okay, we heard Duke Tobin talk at the end of the season at the press conference, that unicorn of a press conference that he never gives, which to his credit where it's due. Like, you actually face the music for once, buddy. Like, good on you. But he's talking about, oh yeah, well, I saw signs at the end of the season young players getting better and everything. And it's like, okay, I could see that with like Miles Murphy maybe, but like if we're talking about Demetrius Knight Jr. and Barrett Carter, man, I mean, how often do you see a rookie who's historically bad in their first year and then make some sort of leap to even like passable starter? I don't think it really happens. And the only thing you can like write it off as is like, okay, they're waiting till after the draft, see how the draft shakes out, and the whole like compensatory pick situation, I guess, stops counting after the draft in terms of like free agent additions then. So maybe they're trying to pinch pennies there, but it's just, I don't understand. Bobby Wagner's just sitting out there. Players like that, you know, he'd be a great. I've written about him just as like a no-brainer and everything, and just the way that, for instance, like the way that I've called this out too, the way they structured Boye Mafe's contract. If you look at that, year one, he's counting $17 million against the cap. Jalen Phillips, who signed with the Carolina Panthers for $10 million a year more in average annual value and a longer contract, he's only making $9.9 million against the cap in year one. And it's just like, that is just such organizational malpractice. And you're putting this like thinly veiled facade of like, we're going all in, like we're you know, spending all this cash up front now. And it's just like, no, you're hamstringing yourself. Do you not realize that the salary cap's increasing every year? Do you not realize that there's going to be an 18th game and there's going to be more revenue that's coming in? And like, it's not like the Bengals, it's not like a liquidity problem like it used to be before, like with the media rights deal and everything. Like I think back in 2024, the revenue share was like $430 million for each team. So like, you can't even excuse that way anymore. It's just like nonsense. And it's just, you're just not maximizing your ceiling. Like, let's just be honest, like, you're not doing it. So that's kind of my macro
right. And you're not leaving, like you said, we talked about this on the show last week. You're not leaving yourself that extra room, right, to go out and get one of those top tier linebackers, which I have been bitching about for the last 2 months. You know, I'm with you, man. I don't know how you look at that linebacker room and say, you know, Demetrius Knight, I think there's an upside there. But if you look at a guy like Barrett Carter, who, like you said so perfectly, how can you possibly look at a guy like that and think that there's going to be that big of a jump? Furthermore, Matt, your only real veteran linebacker is Oren Burks, who is basically a special teamer. Like, you have nobody in that room to help carry that room. It just makes no sense why the Bengals are sitting on their hands right now when there are still some comparable linebackers. I'm not talking about going out maybe. I really wanted Devin Lloyd. I'm going to be honest with you. I was hoping he would be in stripes. But even if you're not going to go get a Devin Lloyd, go get somebody that is a bridge player, you know, to help these younger guys. Barrett Carter is not ready to go out and start again next year. He's not ready for that. So I'm with you, man. I just don't understand it.
Right. And it's like, why are we holding a spot for a 4th round linebacker? It's not, I mean, when I swear every time the Bengals make a draft pick, damn near every time, I just sit, my reaction is like, huh? Or like,
yeah,
huh? It's never like, yes. I mean, Dylan Fairchild was kind of like better, and turns out he's like their best draft pick there.
By far.
And like with Shamar Stewart, it's like, I mean, granted, now I know we'll get into some draft stuff later. I don't mean to get like too into the weeds or retrospective about it, but just obviously with James Pierce Jr.'s legal issues and everything, and some of the Mike Green off-field stuff, like, it doesn't look as bad, but it's like, I just remember that pick being announced, and I'm just like, what are we doing? Why? Like, what is there to tell you? And now people are talking about, okay, I'll save that for later. I'll save that.
Well, and we debated that back and forth too, because Jahad Campbell was sitting there, and they were so excited to go get Demetrius Knight in the second. Well, you could have gotten Campbell in the first. You could have come back and gotten the other Georgia guard in the second, and then you could have gotten Xavier Watts. Like, you could have solved all these problems and made us happy, but instead we fight this all the time because it really feels like the Bengals think that they're the smartest people in the NFL, and it's proven over and over that they're C students, and it's very frustrating.
Yeah, and they're also just very under-resourced, and the organization is not willing to spend the adequate funds to upgrade the scouting department and just staff it better and get more personnel. And not have a real GM, have Duke Tobin in his seat that he's held since the last Clinton administration. I mean, it's just like, what are we doing? And obviously Katie Blackburn's like involved with all the contract negotiations. And then I just heard she's not going to speak at the owners meeting next week.
Yes, I heard that too.
Gee, that'd be really nice to know why you structured Boye Mafe's contract like that and why you structure contracts so freaking weirdly all the time and like hold us back. It just, like, I understand some of the logic of like front loading a contract more so than other teams do, and with the guaranteed money and like putting it in escrow and everything, like you may have to approach it differently. But at the same time, like do you not realize the business of the NFL is just like booming in perpetuity? And also, Joe Burrow publicly said he's willing to restructure his contract, which would open up $19 million of cap space, and you just don't even consider that as an option. And we could have had some of these free agents that we've been talking about.
So we've speculated on that. Let me get your speculation before we get into this stuff here. But the salary cap is $300 million, but it's really like 325 if you just structure them normally. So to me, it's almost like there's only two things that can happen. One, they're front loading these contracts to entice people to come to the Bengals, or they're front loading them and making it look like they're spending to the cap, but when they're not really spending the cap. So it's either they need to do that to bring people in, or they're doing that to make it look like they're spending money and they're pinching pennies and saving that extra $25 million they could be spending.
Well, Jeff Hobson, the Bengals official website, wrote a piece recently, kind of a macro overview of free agency. And it was very much like a little mouthpiecey and a little bit like, PR spinny, but like, which is to be expected. I'm not like criticizing him, like he does a great job. But it's just it actually circled back to talking about the young players on defense and how confident they are in those people. And they had the audacity to like throw Chris Jenkins Jr. in there. And I'm just like, what has he done, man? Like he had a couple sacks here and there last year, but like he's just been a total nothing burger as a second round pick. But the point that Hobson made was he went out of his way to call out, oh, hey, the Bengals are really good at avoiding dead money. And, they apparently internally like pride themselves on avoiding dead money and he framed it as, that's how they're able to stay so cap healthy every year and like not create future problems, as Duke Tobin would say, by restructuring Burrow's contract. But it's like, how tone deaf can you be? Like, who was the team that beat us in the Super Bowl? The Rams. The dead money that they ate to move off Jared Goff from Matthew Stafford. Did that work out for them? How about the Eagles with Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts? Did that work out? And how about the Broncos, the reigning #1 seed in the AFC? They moved up Russell Wilson, ate all that dead money. How'd that work out? They were 3 points away with their backup quarterback from the Super Bowl this year. So it's just like,
right.
What is the point of like putting that?
It's frustrating, right? Because we talked about this last week too. We talked about, for me, it's one of those things where it is a double-edged sword because you don't want to. You look at a team like the Miami Dolphins, right? That right now are in dead money hell. I mean, you're talking about $200 million. Now that's crazy compared to the other ones that we were talking about, but I get that part of not carrying the dead money over, but still the restructuring of contract, and even if it leaves some dead money, it's not going to put you in some kind of a terrible situation where you can't make moves with other players, and you look at Maffe's contract and you're, again, you could easily restructure that contract in a way where there might be a situation where there might be some dead money in a couple years from now, but right now there's a window, right? And this is what my opinion is. The window is Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. This window that we're sitting in right now. Who gives a shit after the window? You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Take advantage of the window. Who gives a shit about 5 years from now? Take advantage of the window.
And it's even. No, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's just it. Go get this city and this country, because we're down here in Florida. These Bengal fans want a Super Bowl, and we'll take a Super Bowl followed by a 1-13 or a 1-16 season, because you know what? We got a freaking Super Bowl. They're tone deaf to that. They'd rather be 9-8, 7 straight years than have one or two Super Bowls and one or two horrible years. I wish they would just go all in.
And it's also just, I don't think people understand, like yeah, there is theoretically the window of Joe, Jamar, T, like the I don't think Joe's gonna want to like break up with them or go somewhere else if he can help it. But you have to look at it like on a year by year basis at this point. Like I'm looking at this season as like this is all that matters. Like forget 27, 28. This is all that matters. If everything goes like belly up again and the defense sucks and Burrow plays out of his mind and they miss the playoffs again, you really don't think he's gonna like think long and hard about like demanding a trade? Like that has to be how urgent everyone is in that building, and the urgency is just not there at all. And he's probably looking at free agency like, what are we doing, man? Like, and that's just got to be the mindset. Like, if we don't get this right this year, he's going to demand a trade, and it's either going to happen, or it's going to be, you know, this whole soap opera that's ongoing and constant speculation and just lots of noise that we don't need.
And on that too, he's sitting there and they put it into his contract and said, we could pull this trigger if we need to go all in and get people. And he's sitting there twiddling his thumbs saying, why aren't you doing this? You know, they could easily gone out there. We did hear that they weren't in on Devin Lloyd. Paul Dana's reported that a lot. But why weren't they in on Leo Chanel? He got a Jermaine Pratt type deal. Like, you could have made us all happy. Even if he turns out being trash, you would have at least taken a swing at it.
Yeah, so I wrote like a 3,000 word mock offseason, and you know, thankfully part of it. So it was taking the athletics model, and I kind of just like edited the Excel formula because I thought that they were I was like, if we're really going all in, like they were very, very conservative with the cap and the spending and everything, and I was like, I'm just gonna like tweak this so I can just show, like, it's more of an exercise to just show like what is possible if you really went all in. And I like extrapolated it out over the next 2 years so you could see like, okay, we're not gonna like you said, Jake, like with something with Boye Mafe's contract, there could be dead money in like year 3 or something, but overall you're still gonna be very cap healthy, and there were just so many moves that they could make. And so 2 of them were Brian Cook and Boye Mafe, so got those, great. But I was advocating for a like triple dip at linebacker. 2 in free agency, Demario Davis, who's like the sort of veteran, sort of whatever, and then Leo Chenal. And Leo Chenal, I don't think a lot of people realize, like 33% of his career snaps are on the edge. So he also brings the sort of like theoretical upside that Demetrius Knight has to play on the edge. Like Chenal has done it. He's done it at a high level. He's won Super Bowls doing it. And and he's ready for like a bigger role. And the Commanders went out and got him, and we saw the contract, and it was just like you said, Eric, it's so easily affordable, so doable, and yet we just sit here. And I mean, Leo Chenal is like embarrassingly better than Demetrius Knight and Barrett Carter, and for that price too, I just it was frustrating.
Well, let's talk about, before we go into the draft, let's talk about some of the rumors out there that, you know, a possible Jordan Battle extension, a possible DJ Turner extension, a possible Dax Hill extension. Do you see any of those getting done, or do you see all 3 of them getting done? Is this something that the Bengals could pull off? Obviously, all 3 guys that would be going on their second contract, and that would definitely shore up the back end of the defense. What are your thoughts on those 3 guys and possible extensions, Matt?
Well, I think if you look at, I think the big first domino is DJ Turner, just because he's sort of the most proven player, I guess you could say, and the best player of those 3, just based on what he did last season.
Agreed.
It could get really freaking weird because DJ and Dax have the same agent, and it's like, it could be convenient because you have like Jamar and T, who eventually T got the same representation as Jamar, and then they had like the cute little, like, we're doing a joint press conference, like, we got our deals done together, this is great. But Dax also has to be on board with that, because I mean, when they've actually played him at boundary cornerback, he's been awesome. And it's just a problem of, he's been constantly fluctuating, switching positions. Obviously, had the torn ACL, so his market is a little. I would prefer to kind of get him done early, like now, because I think he's going to have a great season and he'll just cost the Bengals more if they want to keep him, or he'll price himself out of Cincinnati.
Right.
But yeah, and with Battle, I think I just want to see another year before I go down that path. Especially, we'll get into the draft stuff and everything, but obviously safety is like a pretty rumored position that they might target or like speculated about, just with Downs and Thieneman. And then also those guys can play nickel, and so you upgrade over Jalen Davis maybe in the short term, and then you have like the flexibility to put one of those guys deep if Battle prices himself out. But I mean, I guess I wouldn't mind a Jordan Battle extension. I just haven't heard as much about that as far as I think Hobson even like wrote something about how the team is prioritizing Turner and Hill and wanting to keep both of them. I mean, and I feel like they kind of need some wins from the draft in recent years, and just kind of it kind of behooves
really do
to get that done. And it's just like, can we just not draft like Mansour Delane 10th overall to like replace one of them, and like
I know, right?
So
halfway,
that's
sort of
the concern. What the Bengals have tended to do in the past, and our buddy Mon has brought this up quite a bit, is they'll have two guys and they'll offer them the same contract. The first guy that takes it, they pull the contract off the table for the other player. Having the same agent, I feel like that's going to backfire if they try and pull that crap. I think they either go in like a T and Jamar deal, otherwise they're going to be in trouble because these guys aren't going to mess around. You can't play one agent against the next. Are you concerned that they're going to try and pull that?
I wouldn't put anything past them, man. They certainly have a unique way of conducting business, don't they? At the negotiating table, and that's what I'm saying. It could get like super weird. Just the fact that you do have the same agent. What if you like alienate them, which the Bengals want to do with their best players? They like alienate them. They made T request a trade. They made Trey request a trade. Like, it's not like they're easy to work with. And it just seems so avoidable to not. It seems like what they're like quibbling over is like a few $1 million here and there. And I just for who, for what,
Yeah. And before we're gonna get to the draft here, but that's the frustrating thing is the Bengals play with we've got $300 million to spend this year. They had 280 last year. They don't play with the knowledge that next year's salary cap is probably going to be 330. They don't go into it like that. They're like, oh, we got $300 million to spend. We're going to have $300 million to spend next year. They're not playing that future gains out there and acknowledging the fact that Dax Hill is going to cost this amount of money this year. Next year he's going to cost 25% more. They can't play those games, and they need a good financial planner to go in there, someone to shake them up. I don't know.
Yeah, I hear you.
Let's move to the draft, Eric. Yeah. Free agency now. These guys coming up on deals and who the Bengals have already signed. Eric, I know you had a question you wanted to start off with. Let's go. Let's get it.
Yeah. So we debate this over and over and over. In the last few years, Coach Jake and I mean, it's probably going on 3 or 4 years now. We've wanted to go best player available. We were all in on Jahmyr Gibbs, Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer. We were all in on the best player available. Go get and make this the greatest show on turf. Coach Jake has flipped a little bit, and I've gotten our other co-host Mon to flip because we're sitting here with the potential. Some of these mocks out there have love falling to us at 10. So I continue to pound the table for you take the best player available. You go out there, you improve your team no matter what, you get the best player available. Coach Jake has been on record this year that he wants the best defensive player available. What are your thoughts? What's your opinion on this? Am I crazy for wanting Jeremiah Love and to repeat that St. Louis Rams greatest show on turf type of atmosphere or not?
No, I mean, look, I make a big board every year and stuff, and right now I've got Jeremiah Love at the top of it. I just think he's unbelievable. And yeah, like Chase Brown is another sort of extension eligible guy, but it's the running back position. You never know how it's going to shake out. And I know we have Samaje Perine, and I know we invested a pick in Taj Brooks last year, but if you can get somebody as special as Jeremiah Love, it's hard to pass that up. But my problem is, I think just I'm so annoyed by the Bengals first round draft strategy of basically what they've done damn near every single year is they draft like succession plan players. Like Dax Hill was supposed to replace Jesse Bates.
Right.
That didn't work out.
Right.
Miles Murphy was supposed to replace Sam Hubbard. That has finally somehow kind of worked out in the middle of year 3, perhaps. And then Amarius Mims wasn't even like going to start right away. We had Trent Brown, and then Trent Brown gets hurt in like week 3 or whatever, and then Amarius Mims gets like thrust into duty. And I liked the Mims pick more than the others, but and then last year Shamar Stewart, he's like the replacement for Trey Hendrickson. It's just like we need somebody who can like come in, and now you're picking 10th, so you have like a better chance of like you're higher up, so you have a better chance of getting a more immediately impactful player. But they just haven't gotten guys who are just like ready to roll right now in recent years.
Yes.
And it's just like so however like manifests is fine with me. But like I said, I kind of touched on it before. If we draft Mansour Delane, man, and we've got like DJ and Dax, and they are apparently like prioritizing extensions, if there's some like weird buzz about, oh, I don't know if this is one of them is gonna get done, and then like the thing gets weird. Like I just do not want to see another succession plan. It's like, no, we need guys on the field right now who can get it done. And obviously Jeremiah Love fits in that category. But I hear you, Jake. I'm more inclined to the defensive side of the ball just because that's where the need is. And, I do have a dream pick from my mock offseason that I mentioned before. But I don't know if he'll get to us.
Well, let me say this. Let me say this too, because I want to defend myself here. Eric is right. I was huge on Jahmyr Gibbs. Like I loved Jahmyr.
Me too.
And I thought he would make this offense so special. And Eric's right. Like usually, they'll tell you I have been known to crash out a little bit on draft night, especially in the first round, Matt, because I'll just be honest with you. I think we are absolutely atrocious in drafting in the first round. I think we might be one of the worst teams besides maybe the Cleveland Browns and the Las Vegas Raiders. We are probably right in the top 5 there because we do exactly what you said, Matt. We draft for the next guy up, right? Instead of going out and looking at who are the best players available. Last year, we had a chance to get players at positions of need that were much better on anybody's board than Shamar Stewart, right?
Yeah.
It is. It's frustrating because, and I get a lot of shit on here too from everybody about how I feel about the way we draft, and it's so frustrating because the Bengals are they're really not good at it. Unless it's a home run like a Joe Burrow or Jamar Chase. I mean, those were home run picks. But and I'll give the Bengals credit where it's due. They have done really well in the second and third rounds. Not consistently, but they've done well in the past.
Sure.
Obviously, the T. Higgins pick was a home run. I'm not even going to mention the third round pick that year because I just I'm still heartbroken about that one.
Yeah, I feel the type of way about it too. Yeah.
I don't even want to get into that. But the Bengals they've done it. By the way, that was an incredible draft.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow. I mean, obviously Joe Burrow was a home run, but that was one of the best drafts I think the Bengals have had in 3 decades. But it is frustrating. And this year is the one year where I look at this football team, right? And yes, Jeremiah Love would make this offense so much better. It really would. And that's really crazy to say because it's already a top 5 offense in the NFL. But you have an incredible opportunity this year, Matt, to get an elite defensive player. This draft is loaded at the top with elite defensive players. I'm talking about guys that right now would step onto this Bengals team and make the defense better right now. So for me, yes, Jeremiah Love it's a sexy pick. I think he's an incredible player. Unfortunately, I think him coming around this time and this draft, it's just the wrong draft for it. When you have guys like Reuben Bain and Caleb Downs, maybe a Sonny Styles that fall to 10, holy shit, Matt. Those guys right away would make this defense a couple percentage points better. And that's what the Bengals need, right? I mean, let's be real.
Oh, yeah.
As sexy as Jeremiah Love is, the reason why we haven't made the playoffs, it's not because of the offense. Shit, Joe Flacco stepped in last year and damn near looked like an all-pro for 9 games.
Yeah.
It's not the offense. The defense is absolutely atrocious. And you could say probably the worst in the NFL, Matt. You legitimately could say it is top 3 worst defenses in the NFL. So just to defend myself here, normally I am best player available. This year I am best defensive player available. So I just kind of mixed it up a little bit, Matt.
I mean, I think that's totally fair. My dream pick that I was hinting at is Sonny Styles. I just think he's unbelievable. Like he would just walk in there. I mean, Demetrius Knight and Barrett Carter can't hold his jock, man. Like it's just, I mean, few can from an athletic standpoint alone, but just that, like, gee, we can't tackle anybody. And like Sonny Styles doesn't miss tackles. And he's also a historically great athlete with actual production to back it up, unlike Shamar Stewart. And he's a converted safety. He has like coverage savvy and that sort of skill set. And he's just massive. There just aren't many humans built like that. And I just think his, like, just everything you see, like interviews and everything, what he did on the field, obviously too, but like, it seems like he's the complete package. And, you know, there's the positional value argument of like linebacker, safety, like could those guys kind of fall? Like we're talking about Caleb Downs or even Dylan Thieneman from Oregon. I'm sure he'll be there if not Caleb Downs. I mean, I'm pretty bullish on all those guys, but it would just be the absolute dream if Sonny Styles somehow fell to 10. But again, it's like we're talking about free agency and linebacker and not addressing it. It's like you can't just like go into the draft like hoping Sonny Styles is going to fall to you and then be like, yeah, see, we solved our linebacker room, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's like us not paying the mortgage because we're going to win the Powerball tomorrow. You just don't do it. You had a chance to go out there and to get that. My concern is, and just to rebuttal, and I want to get your opinion on. My concern is Downs is off the board, Styles is off the board. Now you're sitting at 10, and maybe Jeremiah Love is there, but now you've got the Bengals reaching for the cornerback, or you got the Bengals needing a defensive player, and they grab the 16th best player when there's an offensive player that's ranked 9th there. So I'm really concerned because I've seen them do that. I mean, we saw that with Shamar Stewart last year.
yeah.
That's very frustrating to me that's their tendency, and I'm really concerned that they're going to go that. I want to get your thoughts, and maybe you give us the likelihood that or speculation on will Downs be there or will Styles be there? You know, how likely is it that we're going to be sitting there? Maybe we could pick between both of them.
Eric, hang on one second. Sorry, guys, real quick. Ben asked. Ben, the 3rd round pick was Logan Wilson, who is one of my favorite players in recent Bengals history. That's why I don't want to talk about it, because I am still heartbroken about it. So yes, Ben, it was Ben asked who was the 3rd round pick that year. Think about that draft, guys. I mean, Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Logan Wilson. I mean, those are home run picks.
Yeah.
After that, got a little rough. I mean, Akeem Davis-Gaither obviously gave us a handful of good years, especially on special teams. But anyways, Ben, I just want to answer Ben's question. Go ahead, Matt. Sorry about that.
Yeah. I actually got to talk to Logan Wilson before the season. Did a little interview with him, and he's a great guy, very down to earth, and very, very warm person. Wish him all the best in retirement. Because I mean, obviously he was a franchise cornerstone for years, and it just ended really kind of ugly. But in terms of like likelihood of Styles being there, I don't see it. I just think Saleh or Aaron Glenn or like one of those more defensive coaches toward the top of the draft are gonna have a hard time not pulling the trigger on him. I mean, that would be unbelievable if he was there and you just sprint in the card and don't even think twice about it. Caleb Downs is a little more likely to be there, I would say. And, it does really kind of depend a lot on Jeremiah Love because there's the positional value argument for running backs too, right? So, like, a lot of speculation is that he's actually going to go to the Titans at 4, or some other team in the top 10 is going to scoop him up, and that would help push one of the quality blue chip defenders down to the Bengals. But yeah, I mean, I think if Caleb Downs is there, you just take him. I think there's a decent chance, like probably 50-50, I would say, that he's there. Which doesn't sound great, but there's just so much unknown kind of at the top of the draft. And I honestly wouldn't mind. I mean, they won't do it, but it would be nice if they just, because next year's draft is supposed to.
I know what you're gonna say, Matt.
Trade up, baby. Do it. Like the Cardinals at 3. What are you guys even doing up there? Like, what are you like?
Matt,
you're like
Matt,
2 years away from being 2 years away. Just like trade with us,
Matt. We have a better chance on draft night. We have a better chance the first night of draft night of seeing a unicorn fight Bigfoot in a cage match than we do of the Bengals ever trading up in the first round. That shit is never happening. Listen, Matt, I'm with you, brother. Like I am 100% with you, but there are so many things that would have to happen, like the entire universe flipping upside down for the Bengals to ever move up and make that kind of a move. Which, dude, I'm with you. Like I'm telling you right now, if the Bengals have a chance for Styles, Downs, or Bain, and they have to move up a spot or two, holy shit, they've got to do it. I mean, they have got to do it. If we start getting to that point where it's like, I'm not going to do the 6-7 thing, but
You just did it.
we're getting to that point, guys, where it is like between 6 and 8, and 2 of those guys are still sitting there, Matt, I'm telling you, if the Bengals do not trade up, I will crash out. I will crash out. I swear to you, I can't deal with it. I won't be able to deal with it.
The problem with that is you don't have a lot of trade partners. The Chiefs aren't going to trade with us. I guess the Saints or the Commanders, the Browns at 6 are not going to, well, they traded Joe Flacco to us, but they're not going to trade with us again. You no longer have Callahan with them at 4. So at most, the Bengals want to move up to 8 or 7. I don't see them having the ammunition. Our guy Mon did have a question for you, though, so I want to flip this.
Okay.
Mon wanted to know, so he talks about the Ohio State defensive tackle, Caden McDonald. Bengals haven't had a dominant interior defensive line for a long, long time. Do you think the Bengals could contemplate trading back and targeting him?
I've written about that exact scenario more than once because I'm pretty into it, and they have met with him once already. I believe they're going to meet with him again. Not sure if it's like an official. There's some like semantics with the whole 30 visits and everything like that, but yeah, Caden McDonald, he was like yelling, like primal screaming at his pro day. Like he's just like a dog. He's one of those elite run stopping nose tackles, and with the 10th overall pick, is that what you want? Are you getting like the best value there? Like probably not. And so trading back is like a little risky because it's like depending on how far you trade back, will he still be there? I would say you could trade back at decent ways and still probably be able to get him, and then if you pick up another asset or two to spend and just have like another dart throw on day 2 for someone else, that'd be pretty cool, and just build out a little bit of the depth of the roster. But I mean, we see it all the time. The Bengals love to stick and pick no matter what. So
Oh God, so frustrating.
I don't know. I mean, that it's a compelling scenario, and like I said, I've written about it like extensively a couple times at least. So I like Caden McDonald a lot. I think be a great fit.
With my luck, Brian's right. With my luck, the Bengals will stick at 10 and pick Peter Woods, and I will. I'm telling you right now, Mon. I know Mon's watching. Every year I watch the draft at Mon's house. I'm telling you right now, Mon, I will throw that ice cream cake through your TV if I hear Peter Woods mentioned at all in the first round by the Bengals. I will lose my absolute loving mind.
So,
Better.
Matt, Jake's crashed out quite a bit, and it gets us a lot of views, but he crashed out over Shamar Stewart. He crashed out.
Well, look
yeah,
at it.
But
understandably so.
You crashed out the year prior when we got our starting off right tackle for the
I
future.
did crash out a little bit.
So I want you to, because I was reading your articles earlier, trying to do a little bit of prep. I want to talk about this potential crash out that could be coming, because you have a story up about the Bengals being interested in Keldrick Falk, which is very similar to Shamar Stewart. Talk to Jake why he needs to get up on that ledge.
Eric, I told you not to ask this damn question. We cannot talk this shit into existence, Eric. I told you.
Listen, he's
don't
got
wanna
great
talk about
information.
it.
Let him talk.
Well, no, I appreciate you reading up on some of my stuff for background and some context. Yeah, dude, Keldrick Falk, like, I think I found, because a lot of people look back to 2024 and they're like, hey, well, he had 7 sacks that year and he had all this pass rushing upside, allegedly. And if you look back at those games, like 4 of the games accounted for half of his quarterback pressures and 3 of his 7 sacks. And they were against like Vanderbilt, who had the 10th worst pass blocking offensive line in the country. One of the games was a 73-3 win over Alabama A&M. And I forget the other 2 opponents offhand, but yeah, it wasn't like you're not playing like world beaters. I mean, he did have some good flashes in that season against Alabama and Georgia as well. But yeah, I have him as like a 3rd round guy. And to me, the similarities with Shamar Stewart, it's like similar size, freakish athletic potential or whatever, but it's like, it's more of like a run defense, edge setting kind of guy who theoretically has this pass rushing upside that's like really raw. And obviously he had the season he had where he didn't produce. And it's just like, why would we draft another just pure run stopping it? Yeah, as if Shamar Stewart isn't enough of a red flag, 4.5 sacks in 3 years of college ball. Like, Keldrick Falk's a little more productive than that, but it's like similar. It's just like similar vibes. And it's like, but it's just like they fall in love with the physical tools. Like, that's kind of what the Bengals do. And I could just see them being like, yeah, like we'll just drop this in case. The only thing is, it'd be a bit of a damning indictment on Shamar, and as if they're already kind of conceding defeat on him. So that's part of the reason I can't really see it. But it was mentioned in like an ESPN thing, like watch for the Chiefs and Bengals as like potential landing spots for Keldrick Falk. But I just think it's like 2 rounds too early, man. Like there's just no way.
Listen, we said that about Shamar Stewart. The Bengals love that shit, right? They love the eye test. Doesn't matter what they do on the field.
Hunt. Remember Marcus Hunt?
Yes.
Yeah.
They love the eye test. Doesn't matter what they do on the field. Mon has a good question here too. Give us Matt, because we've thrown out a bunch of names and different positions, but what would you say are the top 5 fits for the Cincinnati Bengals, right? They're sitting at 10. Obviously, be realistic here. We're gonna stick and pick.
Yeah.
Be realistic about who could be there. What do you like? What are these top 5 fits for the Bengals?
I would expand that not just at 10. I would say throughout the draft, because we got to look for the 2nd round, the 3rd round.
Okay, let's do that.
We need more than one starter. So
let's do this, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do rounds 1 through 3.
Okay.
Round 1 through 3. What are some of the best fits that you feel are for our Cincinnati Bengals?
Yeah, I mean, I would say like Caleb Downs is kind of a no-brainer. Like, honestly, like it's sort of a 1A, 1B situation with him and Dylan Thieneman. I don't know about like Dylan Thieneman's sort of there's some concern about his change of direction and sort of how he is if he's playing cover. But I feel like he had plenty of range that he showed at Purdue when he was playing the deep safety and had like 6 picks as a freshman or whatever it was. And he can obviously flex down, play nickel. He has experience doing that. And he's a big hitter. He's a great athlete. He's like more, I would say, naturally athletic than Caleb Downs, who didn't do any of the testing. And we're kind of in the dark about that a little bit. But like, I don't think he's some poor athlete. Like he's fine. Like, and he's got the elite instincts and football IQ. And I mean, you just hear anybody like talk about him at Ohio State, like Matt Patricia just raves about him. And just any internal report that comes out about him, it's like, this dude is unbelievable. Like he's like an Ed Reed, Troy Polamalu, and like people don't say that lightly. Like when you're that dialed in from the sort of schematic standpoint and the knowledge of the game at that young of an age, it's wildly impressive. And to do what he did at Ohio State, and to think like maybe he does have some room to make more plays on the ball. And it's like, okay, if that's what we're worried about, and I mean, he had 6 interceptions in his college career. It wasn't like he didn't have any ball production.
Yeah,
but
right.
if that's what we're really like worried about improving. Like, I think that's somebody I want on my team. Like, he's pretty special, and I'm really excited to see what he does.
I'm with you. Like, he's my crush. Like, Caleb Downs, to me, if he is there at 10, the Bengals better run to the podium. They better run to it. I mean, I already said if he's there at 8, they need to trade up for him, because I fear the Chiefs might take him at 9. So let's go. So Caleb Downs 1. Who do you like maybe in the second and third rounds?
Yeah, this is interesting because, now that Orlando Brown Jr. has kind of signed his extension and everything, like, I was kind of thinking second, third round, they might target somebody like Northwestern left tackle Caleb Tiernan to kind of have a succession plan in place, because that's like kind of how they roll. But now that's not really necessary anymore, so there's a little more flexibility. I mean, I guess round 2, it kind of depends if he makes it there, but and I'm a little reticent just because of, we've talked about Demetrius Knight Jr., and not to just like dunk on him the whole time. Like, and like you said, Jake, he does have some upside, like definitely more than Barrett Carter, I would say.
Yeah, 100%.
He's like an older prospect, he's already in his like mid-20s, but that's neither here nor there. A couple of guys in round 2 that I like potentially. Jacob Rodriguez, the linebacker from Texas Tech. He just
I like him a lot.
Crazy production. There was some concern, like, is he going to test well and everything? And then he goes to the combine. And he just like ripped it up. Like, he did just fine. So you pair that sort of those metrics with, I mean, he forced like 10 fumbles or something crazy, and like had a bunch of interceptions. He's just a tackling machine. And it's like some of that is like Texas Tech's defensive line. You got David Bailey up there. You got Romello Height. You got Lee Hunter. You got Skylar Gill Howard. They had some dogs in the trenches, but like he was making plays all over the place regardless. Right. So I like him a lot. And then I actually really like. So like I've got like a top 175 sort of big board, and Rodriguez is 29th on it, but I think he's going to be there in round 2 when the Bengals go on the clock, 41. I also think Traden Stukes, the nickel / I think he can play deep safety in the NFL out of Arizona. He's he has some injury history and everything, but he has just incredible ball skills. He's like a heat-seeking missile kind of coming downhill. So it's like if you don't get that nickel type Caleb Downs or Dylan Thieneman at 10, you want to go in a different direction. Like if you want to go the Jeremiah Love route, or you want to go like, I don't know, I love Kenyon Sadiq. If you wanted to do something kind of crazy there and wait, like I don't necessarily recommend that, but right. In the event that would happen, I think Traden Stukes is outstanding. I think he's going to be a phenomenal NFL player.
Yeah, and I love Jacob Rodriguez. We did a mock here. When was that, Eric? Was that last week or the week before? We did a mock where I think we actually took Downs in the first, and I wanted Jacob Rodriguez in the second. I'm with you 100%. Like to me, the Bengals, especially if they don't make a move at linebacker, that would be telling me that they are drafting one in the first 2 days. I really believe if there's not a veteran that's brought in during free agency, I would be absolutely floored if they do not draft a linebacker in the first 3 picks. And to me, if the Bengals finish round 2 and they are sitting there with Downs and Rodriguez, the draft would already be a home run for me. I would absolutely love that being the first 2 picks of the draft.
So
I'm with you.
Jake, you weren't here for the last episode I did with Mon. We did a mock draft, and before we were speculating Jeremiah Love. We did a whole conversation with it, and of course our algorithm was listening. We got there to 10, and Downs was there, and Jeremiah Love was there. So we did draft Jeremiah Love. So the results that just for shits and giggles, the results of that draft, we got Jeremiah Love, we got Emmanuel McNeil-Warren in the second, and then we got Caleb Banks in the third. I don't think you would have loved that pick. But talk to me about Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. If we don't get Downs, we've talked a couple safeties, but where is the cliff? Maybe talk about him, and is there 3 or 4 really good safeties, or is there 10? What are we looking at here if Downs doesn't fall to us in the first?
I think there's some really good safeties in this throughout this class. I mean, that you could get on the first couple days. I really like Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. I also really like AJ Halsey out of LSU. He's like 220 pounds, like not like listed weight, like he like tipped the scales at the combine at that, and he can like bring the thunder, man. Like
I was about to say he's more of a thumper, right?
Yeah, but he does have kind of plus ball skills as well and some good ball production, if I remember correctly. And he had kind of a bit of a odyssey of a journey. I think he went to like 3 different schools in college. But yeah, played at LSU this past year, played really well. And he's still kind of figuring things out a little bit. But I mean, I kind of like both the USC guys, Bishop Fitzgerald, not just because he shares my surname, but and
you just want a jersey,
that jersey,
that you can
yeah,
purchase
there you
for
go.
the draft, right?
You got me. And then Kamari Ramsey as well. He's had deep safety experience, but he played the nickel this past year. He's a very sure tackler, very smart player. You don't really like look to USC as like a bastion of defensive excellence, but those two guys kind of caught my eye. And Keontae Scott out of Miami is an interesting kind of guy. He's more of a slot, but he just misses so many tackles, man. Like he sort of has some Mike Hilton vibes in terms of football IQ and sort of being in position, but he just struggles to finish plays so often. I'm a little less bullish on him.
So you're telling me he's a mix between Mike Hilton and Geno Stone? Is that what you're telling me?
Oh man!
With the upside of Barrett Carter, we're all in here.
Listen, I want to publicly apologize to Mike Hilton. I should never have put Geno Stone in the same sentence as you, Mike. I love you, Mike. You're one of my favorites. I'm so sorry I just did that. That's a horrible, horrible thing to do to Mike Hilton.
No, but Jalen Davis is good. Like he's a fine starter and everything.
I think he'll be all right.
I also like Michael Taft from Texas. He's a little on the smaller side, but he's just been really impressive in terms of like just a lot of experience, a lot of snaps in college, a lot of big time game experience, and he could be a guy on day 3. I don't know if you guys want to get into more of like the 2 more prospects or whatever that are like the best fits for maybe the 3rd round.
Whatever you want.
Yeah,
just
give me
some,
going.
We're here for
3rd round. Give me some 3rd round stuff.
We haven't done a 7-round mock yet because we're not really that deep into it. We do have our guy Justin that comes on that knows every single prospect out there. I swear the Bengals need to hire him and they won't. So we haven't gotten deep there. So go as deep as you want because us and our fans, we want to solve it and we want to get 6 starters out of this draft. Come out there and raise the floor of this team. So whatever you got, let us know.
Yeah, y'all and me both. That'd be great to have a bunch of instant impact ball out right away.
How about like the Rams do every year? Yeah, that's what I would like to do. That's what I would like to do.
They're the F them picks team, and they the sort of the underrated part of them has been finding all those gems outside the first couple rounds of the draft.
Yeah, crazy.
Always pull it off. Wildly impressive, and obviously they're better resourced scouting department and everything.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make excuses for the guys who do have the jobs at the Bengals because they need to do better, but it's also like it would help if your organization actually invested in that. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah, round 3. I mean, I wouldn't mind a flyer on a Caleb Banks in round 3. I that makes sense as a fit and everything, but I'm pretty bullish on some of the receivers who could be there at that point. And I know we have like Andre Yoshibash, like obviously you have Jamar Chase and T Higgins, but like I feel like T's in and out of the lineup a lot. I feel like Andre didn't have a good year last year, and
I agree.
Now he's entering a contract year, and it's like they're real. Mitch Tinsley was flashing really cool in the preseason, and then had some moments in games, but he kind of got his chance to be the 3rd guy and didn't really take advantage of it. And it's just like there are guys to be had in like the 3rd round. Like, I mean, hopefully the 3rd round. It's just hard to gauge where some of these receivers are going to go because I think there could be a run on them kind of round 2 or round 3 just because teams they're starting to fly off the board. But I really like Brendan Thompson from Mississippi State. He ran like the sub 4.3 at the combine, and he's very small, but like he can get off the line. He like toasts man coverage. Like he's just an absolutely explosive. Like I would just love somebody who could just I mean, obviously Jamar can take the top off the defense, and obviously T's great at contested catches downfield, back shoulders, all that sort of stuff. But I would just love like just a pure freaking burner, man. Just like send somebody just screaming, and because like Burrow's lethally accurate downfield, and you might as well take advantage of that. Like, I mean, even somebody like Jeff Caldwell out of Cincinnati, local kid. He's more like 6'5" and everything, but he runs like he runs like a deer, and he's just a athletic freak show, and I wouldn't mind that. And I don't think we necessarily need like a pure slot guy like a Zachariah Branch or someone like that. Oh my gosh, my favorite though is UConn's Skylar Bell. I gotta say, because he has legitimate inside outside versatility. He had like 100+ catches this past season. I just think he would fit in really well with T and Jamar attracting so much attention, and then you still have like Mike Gesicki. Yeah, I think he could come in and like beat out Andre like right away. So I would not mind taking a shot at receiver in round 3, but if not, I wouldn't mind another tight end like Oscar Delp out of Georgia. I think is really underrated.
And they like him, right? I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of stuff stirring about him and the Bengals. Seems like
that's cool. I don't know if I've seen that as much, but like that's great. That's great to hear, because I think they found at the combine that he was like playing the whole season with like a fracture in his foot, and he was still like this dog of a run blocker and everything. Like he's basically what the Bengals have always wanted Drew Sample to be, but isn't. And with all this upside to be a pass catching threat, because I was looking at some of the target distribution at Georgia. They had like 8 guys with like 20 something catches, and it was just like, what are we doing? And Zachariah Branch was just catching all screens basically. They just had some weird gimmicky stuff to their passing game, and obviously Delp was playing behind, like you mentioned before, Brock Bowers and Darnell Washington, even like earlier in his career, like playing behind those guys, and so he was always kind of overshadowed, I feel like. And yeah, I mean, I think he's one of those classic like better pro than college player types. So
Amon asked about Jake Galladay, obviously the linebacker from Cincinnati. There's buzz about him as well around the Cincinnati Bengals. Is he a reach at 41?
I don't think he's a reach necessarily. It's interesting because Cincinnati Bearcats actually had him playing. I think he had like 250 snaps in the slot last year. So he's almost like they were having him do so much in coverage, which like I think it bodes well for how he will play against the pass in the NFL, because if they trust him to like go out there and cover the slot, I mean, granted, Cincinnati's not like in the SEC, but like that still like speaks to his athleticism and wherewithal and versatility to be able to do that. And he played a fair amount on the edge too. So it's just kind of like, if he's just a pure linebacker for the Bengals, I like him, but how immediately impactful is he going to be? He's somebody I could see in year 2 kind of taking a big step and being a player, but I think it would just kind of, if you're going to do that, you need, like we're saying, Sonny Styles or something at pick 10, or in the dream that will never happen in trade up scenario, somebody who's just so clearly better, because otherwise like the coaching staff and the front office are just gonna be like, let's roll with our guys that we already have, and give them a chance. And I can't take
another full season of Barrett Carter.
I can't take another second round draft pick reach for a linebacker. I don't want to reach at all in those first 3. So we are almost an hour here. I tried to get us out here earlier, but I do appreciate you staying. I want to get you out of here on this. We're sitting here at the end of day 2. The Bengals have drafted 3 players. What is your dream scenario for picks? Our first round, second round, third pick. What will make you just go out and celebrate that night?
I mean, yeah, I think obviously Sonny Styles would be the dream at 10, but I don't think he's going to be there. So I would definitely, like, Caleb Downs isn't like a consolation prize or whatever. I think he's just the more realistic player to be available. So, I mean, yeah, that would make me really, really happy. And then for the second round, I mean, Jacob Rodriguez would be pretty sweet. But again, it's like the second round linebacker thing it has me a little squeamish and skittish.
Yeah. No, I know 100%.
I would say Traden Stukes. Like the thing is, though, if you draft Downs, you don't really need to draft him. So it's tricky.
You're dreaming here. Remember, you're dreaming.
Yeah,
so go for your dream.
Okay. Yeah, I would say, all right, we'll go with Downs, and then we'll go with actually, there could be a scenario where Caden McDonald makes it to 41 just because he has just the run-stopping nose tackle thing. That's kind of like his identity, and it's like I feel like teams don't really go after like that's somebody who could like fall in the draft just like
right
value standpoint. So like that'd be the dream, like getting 2 Buckeyes kind of there, and especially because the Bengals seem allergic to drafting Ohio State players a lot of the time, even though they're like right in the backyard, and it's pretty convenient for your understaffed scouting department to just like go to Ohio State or just like blindly pick somebody who goes to that school because they have so many good players in this year's draft in particular. So that would be sort of the dream tandem, and then I guess 3rd round, I'd be all for Skylar Bell in the 3rd round. So to get like a probable upgrade at wide receiver 3, just like another weapon, and plus like a little bit of injury insurance. I feel like that sort of mentality is okay to have in the 3rd round. But he could also be an immediate impact player. So I'd say that's my dream scenario: Caleb Downs, Caden McDonald, if you maybe have to trade up in the 2nd round, and
they are more apt to do that though. Didn't they trade up for Cam Taylor-Britt? I believe that was the last trade.
Yeah, that's true.
So
it's just the first round. It's just the first round. They're against it in the first round.
Ever since Kajana Carter, we've been a little snake bitten, and it's fine.
Well, I know, but that, good Lord, that was in the 90s. Like that you can't be sitting on that still. I mean, that kind of shit happened.
Back when Jake was in his early 20s, maybe.
That would be mine. Hey, Matt, thank you once again for coming on, man. We really appreciate it. Great stuff. We are actually going to have you back on right before the draft. We're going to do a big mock draft special and everything. So look forward to having you back on, Matt. Can you let all of our listeners know? I'm sure a lot of them already know who you are and follow you, but can you let them know where they can find you?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you guys for having me on too. It was a blast. But yeah, so stripehype.com is where all my writing is at. I'm on X/Twitter at MattFitz_Gerald. The Stripe Hype Twitter is just at Stripe Hype. And yeah, I'm just plugging away, doing my writing. I'll be writing plenty of mock drafts and draft centric content coming up here, and I'm also looking forward to coming back on the show. But yeah, that's kind of it.
Appreciate you, Matt, man. Thank you so much, dude. Thank you. Good stuff, dude. Good stuff.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
Everybody knows he'll be coming to a big screen soon. We don't know where it is. The acting skills won't just be used when you're asked how good Katie Blackburn's doing. It'll be used on the big screen. Believe it.
Eric, we better be invited to the premiere. That's all I gotta say, Matt. You better be invited, Eric, to the premiere.
Listen, maybe it's when they record the movie about the Bengals Cinderella Super Bowl run that's coming up. Maybe there's a role in there. Maybe you need to just do what Sylvester Stallone did and go write your movie, produce it, cast yourself, and be the next Sly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I had to kind of launch back into it because I kind of stepped away for a while. I was like just riding out everything with Barstool and my job after that. I had to kind of self-finance some films and everything, and I co-wrote one of them. So just some short films to kind of get like a reel together so you can market yourself to representation. That's how I got my manager and everything. So, but yeah, no, not quite hitting it big in Hollywood yet or anything like that. But yeah, some exciting auditions have happened, and it's just a matter of time, honestly. So, looking forward to it.
Good. Good luck to you, brother. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Keep plugging away, and Matt, this has been awesome, dude. You got to be a regular on this show,
dude. I would love to, man. I'm so glad we met at the game too, and
absolutely, dude.
Came together. So
I know it's crazy. It's crazy because real quick, Matt was sitting in front of me at the Bengals Dolphins game in Miami this year. That's how we got connected, and Man, I'm glad we did, dude, because you're awesome, and you got to start coming on the show more, man. You really do.
Hey, I'd love to. I mean, writing can only go so far, and meet the people where they're at. You guys have a great podcast. You guys are doing a great job. So
Appreciate it.
We'll get you on. We'll get you on when Jake's crashing out over one of these draft picks, and you can talk him off the ledge because it's going to happen for at least one of them.
Yeah.
And I don't know. We don't want to manifest it, but it happens.
Yeah.
All right, bro. Thanks, Matt. We appreciate it. As always, guys, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. We love you. We appreciate you. As always, follow Mon on Twitter at the Firemon. Follow me on Twitter at Coach Jake Owens 9. Follow Eric on Twitter at eFlash with 2 H's 88. Follow the Cincinnati Podcast Network on Twitter at Cincinnati Pod. And as always, guys, follow the Bengals Pulse on Twitter at the Bengals Pulse. The same on Instagram and TikTok without the the Bengals Pulse. As always, guys, check out all the awesome podcasts right here on the Cincinnati Podcast Network. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. If you liked it, make sure you give us that 5-star review. We very much appreciate that. And as always, check us out on all the podcast networks, Apple, Stitcher, and Spotify. He is Eric. I am Jake. Once again, huge shout out to our dude, Matt Fitzgerald. If you have not checked out his writing, you need to go on Stripe Hype. I'm telling you, the dude is locked in. Go check his stuff out. He'll be back on the show right before the draft. Big shout out to our guy, Mon, who could not be here tonight. Once again, guys, we love you. We appreciate you. Hoo day, Bengal fans. We'll see you next week.